Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another dual episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple and Entrepreneur Rescue Mission. I am here with my beautiful co-host, wife, and business partner, Nancy.
Hello, hello.
And as we've been doing, we love doing these dual episodes because Nancy and I, we've talked about this before in the morning when we're working out, having coffee, eating breakfast. We always land on certain things that I don't want to say are pushing our buttons, but are definitely having things bubble to the surface that we feel really need to be talked about because of things that we're seeing outside looking in, but also being on the inside of being online marketers and online business owners. And one of the big things that we keep asking each other is, what is up with all the ego that is showing up on social media? So we're calling this unveiling the dark side of entrepreneurship, because there is a dark side to it. And Nancy and I are very intuitive people. We feel a lot, and I can feel people's egos, and it completely just pushes me in an opposite direction, and I can't get off the phone or a Zoom quick enough. And it's not directed towards any one individual. I'm just seeing this a lot lately, and I don't know if it's a lack of confidence, if it's overcompensation for something that someone is not good at, but we are seeing and hearing a lot of ego right now on social media. So Nance, I'm going to turn it to you, as I always do, to kind of just kick us off with what's up with all this ego?
Yeah, I think so. We always call it like seasons or themes, right? That arise. And man, oh man, I will tell you, this whole quarter has been ego, right? That's the word that bubbles to the surface. And I'm going to give you a couple different scenarios, right? And in fact, I'll let Scott kind of dive into one. But one, it's a lot of people who are becoming very egoic after reaching maybe a certain monetary income or growing their business in a certain way, and feeling like they can treat other people with a lack of respect and poorly. And, one thing that arose in the news, I mean, I'm sure you guys have all heard, right? Lizzo, who is, a big musician, who's really, popular now. Well, she actually is getting a ton of lawsuits and a lot of, people talking about how she has been treating the people that work with her. And again, I don't know how much is true and how much is not, but when you get enough people coming forward and saying you're not nice and you treat your people very poorly, it's not a good look. And the situation that really kind of started this whole domino effect of us really thinking about this, like, what the heck is going on, was actually a situation we experienced where a woman actually had bought a course from someone else, mistook it. They have a similar name, so reached out to Scott and said, "Hey, I think I purchased a course. I'm really unhappy, blah, 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 blah." So we were able to kind of figure out what the situation was. And, it wasn't a course from us, at all. It was this different coach. Well, as we went down the rabbit hole and we just wanted to make this other coach aware of the situation, Scott, being a nice guy, reached out and said, "Hey, just a heads up, just wanted to give you this information so you could, resolve it however you would like, right? Whether that looked like this, that, or whatever." The person basically laughed, said a lot of rude things, mocked, us for even caring, which was very strange, and said a lot of really nasty things about that particular client. Well, here's the thing, okay? I understand that everyone, right, goes through different things and has different scenarios and situations, but to treat people who have invested in you and have expected something, and obviously that thing had not been delivered, to treat someone that poorly and to be that type of individual, quite honestly, should not be in the type of business that they're in, right? You should not be coaching and consulting people if you do not have empathy and care for others. So as these different situations arose, I mean, it was one thing after another, right? It kept happening where, we've even experienced people who are very, very uncoachable, right? Even, asking questions, but as soon as an answer or a response comes back their way, they have a wall put up because they have this ego, right? That they have to know the answers and that they have to be the ones to, you know, I don't even know. It's very strange and it's very confusing to me. So this is just something, again, it keeps bubbling up. So I want you guys to just think about, what kind of community do you want to surround yourself? What people do you want to surround yourself? Scott and I have invested a lot of money in masterminds and in communities, right, over the years. And quite honestly, it's been shocking to me the differences in, the core people who start these programs. If that person truly cares about their people and wants to deliver value, that experience looks a lot different than other ones, right? So we joined one last year and we won't say who, we're not going to, blow up anybody's spot or anything, but it was a lot more expensive, than some other ones that we had been a part of. And there was completely no community, no engaging, no value. I mean, literally, there were no everything that was promised, which was amazing growth and development and all this wonderful stuff, was extremely short. And I mean, of course, we gave all that feedback to the particular person. And at that point, they had just become so disconnected from their own program that it was just delivering a bad bill of goods. So the thing is, and what we want to put out there to you guys is, again, what kind of community and group do you want to surround yourself in? If you want to be around people who are authentic and real and kind and caring, you got to go out there and look for that, because there's a lot of people out there who are not. In fact, I put together an article around this as well. And I put some tips in there. If you find yourself kind of falling into that realm of being very egoic, or feeling like you've got to be defensive, or feeling like you have to, put yourself above other people, let's pull it back a couple steps, right? Make sure to follow the golden rule, right? Be kind to others, treat others the way that you would like to be treated, right? Scott always says, his mom always says the same thing. Use the communication filter. Is what I'm about to say truthful? Is it necessary? And is it kind? And then just plain have empathy, right? Seth Godin, who's a famous marketer, he always says, you have no business marketing to people or being in marketing if you have no empathy, right? You've got to care about others. You've got to have patience, even when things seem frustrating. Like, trust me, we work with a lot of different people with a lot of different businesses that are in a lot of different stages. So we could get a little frustrated if we can see the light at the end of the tunnel and this other person just is not willing to do the work, or is not willing to see what it takes to get there, or is not willing to be coachable. Okay. We can get a little frustrated, but we can also understand that that's where that particular person is, and we can meet them where they're at. Scott?
I also think that there's an old saying that, when your ego has become too big, where you can't even fit through a doorway, you really have to just check yourself. And, I have been, and so is Nancy, we still are very sympathetic and empathetic people, where we really understand it. And there's been times, man, where Nancy and I have been on calls with people, as she said, and we're doing our best to pour into the individual. I mean, love on them and give them strategies, solutions, answers to their questions. And then we hear one of the, I would say, number one statements that someone, and this is a piece of advice for anyone that's watching or listening to this, when you hear this statement after you give someone some advice, after they've asked for it, and they say, yeah, but, and then they go on whatever tirade they want to go on, that is someone that just can't get past their ego. And it again, it could be something from their childhood where they weren't heard, they weren't listened to, they never felt like they were enough. So as soon as someone gets into kind of a power position, they really lean on that and into that. And I can't express to all of you enough that your ego will bankrupt your business 100%, because that aspect of you and your personality, that's something that you don't want others to find out about. Meaning, if you're treating a certain person away because of your ego getting in the way, word of mouth is one of the best forms of business growth, but also one of the number one things that could kill your business. Because if your name starts circulating that you have a large ego, and there's negative things surrounding it, and and
Treat
they're
people
true,
poorly.
and they're
Yeah.
true, you're not treating people with kindness. And again, it becomes a frustration point for me, because Nancy and I have talked about this before, but we go into business to help other people, to solve other people's problems. So I think why it's such a trigger for myself and Nancy is that, how can someone have such a large ego that also wants to help people? And it's like an oxymoron. They don't go together, because empathy and sympathy go directly in correlation with trying to help others. But ego is like the opposite of that. And it's called peacocking, or whatever you want to do, fluffing your feathers. And I just don't understand, because I can't tell you how many phone calls I've been on where someone has kind of led with like all of their success, all the money they're making, all the great, like, I mean, houses, car, like, I don't care about any of that. I could care less how much money someone else is making, or what kind of cars that person is driving, or the size of their house, or because it's not my life. I focus on me, I focus on us, and I focus on our life. And when you lead with that ego, I'm telling you, it turns people off. It pushes people away. You have to think about, is what I'm saying, or how I'm coming across, is it going to push people away from me, or is it going to want to bring them closer to me? And it's just it's something that just still baffles me. I don't get it. And again, I've kind of answered my own question. I don't have to get it, because it's not for me to understand. But I know for a fact that everything will come back around in a negative way for that person that is leading with their ego. Because when you don't put other people first, in the sense that for business, when you are not looking to serve people the right way, and you're letting your own agenda and your own ego stand in the way of helping others the way that you should, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. And I think, in this day and age, right, there's such like a cancel culture, right? And if you get a bad enough rap, I mean, again, people aren't going to want to work with you. And, you could be making all the money in the world, and you could be building and growing a very successful business. But, ultimately, if you've made a bad name for yourself and you've treated people poorly, it never ceases to amaze me. Years ago, I did a lot of work, admin, I did a lot of virtual assistant work, marketing, things like that. And the names that people were called, and the way that some virtual assistants were treated, uh,
Oh man,
it
when
was
you told me all that, I
like
was
horror
just.
stories. I mean, calling and degrading people, treating them like garbage. And it's
But
like,
then you see the contradiction on social media, that someone is like this
this
loving,
loving,
nurturing.
amazing person. It's like, oh, it makes me so angry, because it's like to see things like that behind the scenes, and not have that person really be authentic in that way. It just it's not right. So, again, we talk about this because it is something that's so important to us. It's part of our core values. We want to make sure we astound and give so much more, in value, right? We know people's times are very limited. Time is very limited. So whether it's a workshop, we've got an awesome workshop coming up at the end of September, personal branding blueprint, that we're super excited about. We make sure that you walk away with a lot of value. We respect your time, and all the programs that we have, Expert Authority, our mastermind program that we're actually getting ready to open the doors. We only do it a few times a year. We're getting ready to open that at the end of September. And, you know, Scott said it before, like we only take a limited amount of people because we give a lot of love and attention, right? One thing that we really rest on is, there's a book called The Science of Getting Rich. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it, by Wallace C. Wattles. It was written like about 100 and something years ago. But one of the quotes I love in there is, what I want for myself, I want for others, right? What we have is what we want others to have, right? A life of health, wealth, peace, and abundance, right? We've built a business that gives us all of that, and we want that for other people. Another quote from that book is, with every business transaction, I make the world and people better, right? I make it a better place. We want to do good. We want to help grow our business, but help others grow their business as well. So if you really want to align with people who have the best intentions, who are living authentically, who are real, right? This is who we are. I'm in my messy office right now. So if you guys are listening, you can't see it. But for those of you who are watching, it's real. This is us. I actually giggled because when Scott and I first started dating, Scott was hired to do a really big speaking event for a big financial firm. And Scott got dressed, and in fact, it was virtual. I think it was, during a time where they were just doing it virtually. And he got dressed and he just had a t-shirt on and, his normal getup. And, somebody had made a comment, well, why aren't you in this big business suit? And why don't you have a tie on and whatever? And Scott's like, this is me. I'm not, I don't wear a suit on a day-to-day basis. I'm a consultant and a coach, and I do work with people like this, and this is just who I am. And so I think being you authentically, being true to who you are, showing up as the best version of yourself. We say it all the time. Don't let yourself fall into that ego trap. Be humble, be caring and kind to others. So anyway, reeling it all in, like we mentioned, right? If you guys want to learn more about our upcoming 5-day workshop, it's called the Personal Branding Blueprint. We actually teach you how to get back to basics in a lot of things. This is specifically for service-based entrepreneurs, professionals. It really helps you revisit the core of who you are, how you want to show up on social media, and how you really want to put yourself out there into the world. Okay. Everybody has a personal brand, every single person. Okay. But if you want to gain control of it and really have some structure, and know how to do it the right way, this workshop is going to be amazing. So we'll make sure to put the link in the bio. Scott, anything else you want to add?
Yeah. And just remember, just following that golden rule, something that my mom said to me all the time as a kid: treat others the way that you would want to be treated back. Use that communication filter. We talk about this with Taylor all the time now. Is what you're about to say truthful, necessary, or kind? But also have empathy. When you are an empathetic individual, but also a business owner, people can feel that they want to be a part of that. And as Nancy forementioned, in the description of this episode, you can find the link to sign up for our workshop, the Personal Branding Blueprint. It is September 25th to the 29th, all that week, 1 to 2 p.m. EDT, live and recorded. Giveaways, prizes, replays available until October 2nd, which is Monday. But also, if you'd like to go directly to learn about our group coaching, hybrid mastermind, expert authority, we'll also leave a link there as well, where you can learn about it and even schedule a call. So everyone, we hope you found today's episode helpful. Love and gratitude, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.